Well, good evening, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen around the world. It is once again time for the WADcast, episode number 63. I am one of your hosts, Josh, joined as always by that guy that I haven't brought into the stream yet. So I might as well do that now. We call him the Fun Killer.
The Fun Killer, because I don't like that song Life Goes On.
It's Obla Di Obla Da.
Yeah. Is that the name of the song? Oh, they can't even name the song.
Wow. Trash.
It's like they were having a
Beatles.
They were having a I don't like the Beatles.
Yeah. Wow.
I don't see how they ever have the fan base that they have. Unpopular opinion.
Oh, truly, because they are like...
It's okay, Daniel just gave me a high five over that one, so don't worry.
The greatest band of all time.
One of the few things that Daniel and I agree on is that the Beatles were... I think that they were okay. They have like one or two songs. I'm like, oh, that's a pretty good song. The rest of them, like, oh, okay. But anyway, this is about movies and the film industry, not about the music industry. That would be called the Madcast. We don't have that.
Although I would love to have a show based around music. The problem being, of course, it's hella expensive to play music. You know, without getting jumped on.
Sued.
Yeah, essentially.
Oh, come on. Queen won't mind. We can just play all their songs. They don't care.
I wish that were the case.
Yeah. Brian May would be on us in a heartbeat.
Just because Freddie's dead, you think you can do whatever the hell you want? No, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. This is the WADcast, episode number 63. And we are here to talk about stuff.
Yes. And tonight, I will say, tonight's show was probably the easiest show for me to have to do any research on in a while, because all I had to do was just watch a few movies that I watched when I was younger. That's all I had to do. And I realized that there are some movies that I was so excited about as a child that I loved. I'm like, oh my God, this movie was awesome when I was in the theater. I was like, oh, this is amazing. And I watched it again this past week, a few of them. I'm like, oh, what the hell was I thinking?
Yeah, I've had a couple of experiences like that myself, and it's not pleasant when you realize the thing that everyone's been saying for, or the thing your parents have been telling you for decades, right? Why do you like that movie? It's terrible. What are you talking about? It's a classic.
Yep.
You don't know anything, Mom and Dad. And then, yeah, as you get older, you're like, oh, wait, they were right.
But then there are also some movies that I watched as a kid. Actually, I would say that there are three categories I discovered this week. There are the movies that I watched as a child that I absolutely loved, that as an adult I cannot stand. And I realized that I only bought like the DVDs or Blu-rays of them for nostalgic reasons, thinking that I would enjoy it, and realized that I wasted money. I don't have children to entertain such as yourself, but I've wasted money. But then there are the movies that I watched as a kid that I was bored from. I just thought they were really dumb movies. I watched them as an adult. I'm like, wow, this is actually a pretty damn good movie. And then the other ones where I loved them as a kid and I love them as an adult.
Yeah, there's a few of those that hold up. And just to be clear, to the mic's doing that thing where the volume.
I was going to say, just to be clear, to silence.
Just to be clear, how does this differentiate from the show we did about movies that don't hold up?
Are you asking me?
Well, I can answer it if you want.
Okay, I was going to say I didn't know if you're asking me or if you're like kind of like one of those questions where we ask the audience a question, and whether or not they answer, we answer it for them. So I'll let you answer that because I know the answer, but I want you to say it.
Okay. The way it differs from that episode is because over time, sensibilities change, society changes, and when you look back at the things that used to be acceptable, you kind of cringe. The way this is different is we're not basing this on societal factors. This isn't what's acceptable then versus what's acceptable now. This is looking back and realizing that as a kid, chances are there was a movie you absolutely loved, but when you get older, when your sensibilities, no, well, I don't want to use that word because I just said it wasn't going to be about that word, but when your tastes develop, when your movie palette develops, you realize, wow, I've been watching trash and
Yep,
loving it.
pretty
Now,
much.
the reason why this became a topic to begin with is because, as usual, in the movie addiction group, somebody made a post, and it was about The Rocketeer. Now, that's a movie I have not watched even a little bit of since it was in theaters.
Well, let's elaborate a little bit for everybody on this one because it's going to come off like the Rocketeer was a really like we're saying that it was a bad movie, which is not um, the case. That whole post was, and we've discussed remakes and reboots before, but and this is not a reboot. This is a sequel, I believe, right, to the one that came out in the '90s with Jennifer Connelly and uh, Timothy Dalton and whoever the hell else was in it because sorry, didn't really care for that movie, guys. It was also when I was a kid, though. See how it works? I'm sorry to cut you off, Josh, but go ahead. I just wanted to make them know that we weren't going to be talking smack about the movie, but where this post was going.
Right.
Sorry, buddy.
No, I've completely lost my train of thought now.
Movie addiction post Rocketeer.
So okay.
Sorry.
There was some conversation about whether or not it was actually a good movie, or do people like it because of nostalgic reasons? Do they like it because they watched it when they were 10 and that's it? That they were 10 years old. They're like, oh my God, this movie's so awesome. I remember going to that movie and then, getting home afterwards, going outside playing with my friends, and we're like, we're going to play Rocketeer. I'm the Rocketeer. You're the Nazis.
Oh yeah. Back
And,
when kids used their imagination on the playground,
yeah, kids still do that.
and after school is over, when you're not on the playground, you just hang out with your friends.
Mm-hmm.
Kids don't do that these days.
Yeah, they do.
They've gone weak. Joking, but go ahead.
So anyway, I started thinking, shit, wait, was The Rocketeer a bad movie? I didn't go back to watch it because I was a little too afraid of what I'd find out. But this left me the question: what other movies did I watch when I was younger and and just realized they're not good? But I remembered them fondly because of nostalgia.
Yeah. Well, would you say that the Rocketeer, like you, I saw it when I was a kid. My mom took me and my brother out to go see it, and I think the drive-in that we had in town. That was like our big theater. We lived out in the countryside, so we had a big old drive-in movie theater. That was like the family outing thing. So when you were a kid, you loved this movie though. Like you had a great time, just playing one of the characters from this movie, as you said. And I was the same way. I loved the movie. I remember I even drew the Rocketeer a few times when I was a kid. The actual like I drew him. It was probably horrible sketches. Um, I drew Jennifer Connelly quite a bit. I'll tell you that. Because it's Jennifer Connelly. But when I saw this post, I couldn't remember a damn thing about the movie. I was thinking I remember this movie being awesome when I was a kid. I just don't remember anything about it. I recall certain scenes, like I believe there's a scene where they had the jetpack strapped up to something while they were doing like a test flight, and whatever the anchor was, it broke, and I believe it was something like the jetpack flew around the world. I started to watch The Rocketeer this past week just so I could see if it was as good as I remember, but I didn't make it very far just due to work, writing, and life. But did you rewatch it to see what you thought?
No, I did not.
Well, I can't really speak on the movie, but I will say it did not leave a lasting impression on me. The basics that he fought Nazis and everything else, and that they're making the huh?
And there were Zeppelins.
Yes, and I remember those were pretty cool when I was a kid, but I didn't know what the hell those things were. Just I knew of Led Zeppelin. I'm like, oh, Zeppelin's were they named after the band? My mom just looked at me, oh, I'm sorry, was it whoever just kind of laughed at it, but I wasn't a bright child.
You don't say.
Oh no, I was a moron when I was a kid.
Maybe if you listen to the Beatles.
No, I've heard them enough.
But
Strawberry Fields. I can't.
Nate, stay on topic.
Well, you brought them up.
I did watch a movie. Are you in a hurricane or something?
No. Just grabbing something from outside real quick. That's all.
Stop that.
Sorry, it's a little breezy out here. I'm sorry, guys. I'll mute the mic. Go ahead, Josh. What were you saying?
I did watch a movie that was. It was a movie I used to love. And I stood by it for so long, but I hadn't seen it in forever. And you talk about unpopular opinions. Yeah. This one's probably going to get a little bit of commentary. The first Sam Raimi Spider-Man.
Yep.
It. And for years, I would say, no, that is the benchmark. That is what superhero movies strive to be. And then I watched it and I was like, oh, wow, this isn't good. Nothing about this ages well. From the way it's shot to the really not great performances.
The over-the-top dialogue.
I don't understand how anybody can say Tobey Maguire is their favorite Spider-Man if they've rewatched these movies recently.
Oh man,
I
am looking forward to how we. I'm looking forward to our interactions online later on when people download this episode and listen to this.
My 12-year-old and I did like a running commentary through the movie. It was her first time watching through. And anytime Peter Parker did or said something creepy, we'd go, #creepy Parker.
I like when he's taking pictures of Mary Jane Watson without her knowing about it, or staring at her through his window and looking into her bedroom window, and
or taking pictures of her when she does know about it. And the scene where he gets bitten by the spider. And he's taking pictures of her in front of the other spiders, and she's looking at a pamphlet, and he's like, I'm going to take his pictures. And he just starts shooting away. It's like, dude, you're a photographer for a school newspaper.
Well, I mean, let's be fair though. I mean, even in the Amazing Spider-Man movie, Peter Parker is kind of creeping on Gwen Stacy. So, can we just say that he was kind of creeping on the girls, like in the first 2 iterations of the Spider-Man movies?
Sure.
And then in the sequel, that's when they were like a couple.
Oh, they weren't a couple in the sequel.
They were at the end.
Yeah, in the last 30 seconds.
I don't care. I cannot be alone. Looking back at Spider-Man 2, I cannot be alone in the fact that everyone was like just gasping in awe as Mary Jane went running through the park in her wedding dress, running to Peter Parker's little studio apartment that he was living in. And everyone's gasping, and I'm over here thinking, it'd be really funny if she trips.
That scene did have a great line, of course. Every line from J.K. Simmons in Spider-Man 2 is great. But it's like, tell him don't open the caviar.
I know. And let's talk about one scene though. It's been in memes where you have Joker from The Dark Knight saying in their final moments, people will show you who they really are. And as J. Jonah Jameson is being held up by his throat by the Green Goblin, he is still protecting Peter Parker's identity.
Yeah.
He's still protected. He's such an asshole in those movies, but damn it, he cares. Of course, it's not the same that we saw at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home, but that's a different episode altogether. He's out for blood in that one.
Again, 30 seconds.
Yeah, I know. But hell of a 30 seconds. But no, it's like, but you're right. I mean, it's what would you say outside of all that? Like, I mean, you and I had a conversation about this earlier, and you were talking about the CGI. But the CGI, I think at the time, CGI, they were still trying to figure out how to properly use it. They were still making advancements in CGI technology. But you go back and you look at that movie.
I did, yes.
And I'm just saying to like our listeners, if you go back and you watch the original Spider-Man, and if you watch it, you pay attention to this to the CGI in the original Spider-Man, it does not hold up. It looks so bad. And kind of again, it's like Rubber Band Man kind of CGI. Just I don't know, like it's like modern day video game CGI in a live action film.
Makes me wonder where the money went. But I will say that the second one holds up incredibly well.
It does. Well, I mean, Spider-Man is like, I mean, it's listed as being like the greatest it's revered by people as being the greatest superhero movie of all time. And it had some cheesy moments too. I mean, it had like the Sam Raimi, and I'm sorry to any Sam Raimi fans out here. I'm not one of them. His movies are okay. That's really all they are to me. They're not horrible, but they're okay. Evil Dead was an okay film. Evil Dead 2 was a comedy, not a horror. But every movie that he does has that Sam Raimi feel to it.
By the way,
no, I know. I'm just saying, it's like, but every movie he does has that Sam Raimi-ness to it. So, like the over-the-top dialogue or whatever, and it definitely is laid on pretty thick in the original Spider-Man. So I do agree with you on that one. It's not as great as it was when I was a kid seeing it, but one movie
is probably May overacting the hell out of.
And they told Willem Dafoe, "Hey, just be you, man." Because Willem Dafoe, I'll tell you right now, whatever movie you see him in, he is absolutely over the top at all times. He is Willem Dafoe at all times.
He's
If you doubt me, watch
the
him in
oldest.
Spider-Man, and then watch him in Boondock Saints. He is a weird dude, but he is a national treasure in the film industry to me.
It's funny though that we talk about performances in Spider-Man, and it seems like one of the least cartoony deliveries is done by the Macho Man, Randy Savage. Bonesaw was legit.
Yeah, Bonesaw is ready. Oh man, Macho Man Randy Savage, rest in peace, buddy.
I've got you for 3 minutes.
But then, well, I mean, it's that one scene actually recently came under scrutiny, where Peter Parker says, "That's a nice outfit. Did your husband make it for you?"
I called that out to my 12-year-old, and I'm like, yeah.
It was a different time, babe. But a movie that I watched as a kid, that I don't want to say it's not funny, because the series itself that was released in theaters is absolutely hysterical. American Pie. This is a movie that I remember seeing as a kid, and I was just floored by the movie, and I was still cracking up rewatching it, and it's very, very nostalgic. Just hearing the music and seeing the styles, even the hairstyles that were big when I was in high school, like the part down the middle that I still get once in a while if my hair is long enough and dry like it is now.
Yeah.
But there's a scene it was the whole scene with Shannon Elizabeth, where he's recording her, I guess, stripping in his room.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say the movie doesn't hold up as far as the comedy appeal, but there's some stuff, like, this goes back to like a conversation we had a while back. It would never get made today like that, ever. And honestly, also, like, technology has changed quite a bit in the last 20 some odd years since that movie came out. But it's just like, and there's certain things I was watching where it's just like kind of like, I guess, cringy at times. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, it's funny as hell when I was a kid. Watching this as an adult, I'm like, oh, well, it's funny, but it's like, okay, kind of funny. Like, there are hysterical moments, but I guess the point of this show is to, like, talk about things that were awesome, that are, like, pretty, I guess, for the most part, pretty lame, right?
Yeah.
That we're underwhelmed by.
Mm-hmm.
So then I'll say, then, you know what? I will save American Pie, but I will raise you a Mac and Me.
I've not seen that one.
You have never seen Mac and Me?
It's never appealed to me.
Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, for the listeners who are not familiar with Mac and Me and have never even heard of it, it is about a family of aliens on another planet that are abducted by us. We have explorers. We have a drone on another planet, and this vacuum attached to this drone sucks up these aliens. One of the aliens escapes. Once they are released, once they escape on Earth, they escape separately. This one little alien befriends a handicapped kid that's in a wheelchair, and changes his life. But they become friends. The best way I can describe this movie is it is the world's longest McDonald's commercial. McDonald's is a big part of product placement in this movie, and there's even this one scene that I remember that was awesome when I was a kid, and watching it as an adult, I was like, how the hell did I watch this? Because there is a 5-minute dance number that breaks out during a birthday party in McDonald's that even Ronald McDonald himself gets in on. Because, when we were kids, Ronald McDonald was just hanging around McDonald's at all times.
Had me a dance number.
Huh?
Said you had me a dance number.
It was just, every one of these kids just turns into like professional grade dancers. And he's hiding his alien in a stuffed teddy bear, but out of nowhere, The alien just feels like it's got to get up and dance too, and no one's even batting an eye at this teddy bear that's dancing around. It's the most what the hell kind of movie. But I was impressed by it, but for like the worst reasons. I was more impressed that it ever got made. But yeah, it was not good. It was really like it's bad. I think I'll go back and I'll watch The Room again to completion before I ever watch that movie again. So if you want to watch a weird WTF movie, ladies and gentlemen, might I recommend Mac and Me. So, but that's hopefully the only one that I've watched that you are not familiar with thoroughly.
Well,
so that way we can actually break down other movies for the rest of the show. So what else do you have on the lineup?
Well, this one is going to, I'm not going to say it caused some backlash, but due to recent releases,
God.
or specifically due to a recent release, it was brought up again in the pop culture zeitgeist, if you will.
Yeah.
And that is the original Space Jam.
Yeah, I will actually agree with you on that one. The original Space Jam was not that special.
It was not.
It was a shit when I was a kid.
As a kid,
but I think
watching it, wonderful. Especially in that era when you were like Michael Jordan and Bugs Bunny. This is going to be the greatest film of all time. Because let's face it, you might have had an appreciation for Bill Murray at the time. And I had a bit of an appreciation due to the constant reruns of old SNL. But I don't think the average run-of-the-mill 90s kid was going to go out of their way to say, oh my God, Bill Murray's in this movie? It was carried on the Looney Tunes and Michael Jordan alone. And the fact that they made another Space Jam with the, current basketball god made so many people upset. Like, you're crapping on a classic. Going back and watching it, it's like, but they didn't really. Because that original classic that you're speaking of was not actually a classic. In the sense of being a good movie. In the sense of being a good movie.
Oh, okay. All right. So you're saying the original Space Jam was not actually a classic in the sense of it being a good movie. It's not a great movie. This is actually one I watched this past week because I wanted to go back and rewatch the second Space Jam, but I watched 1 and 2 back to back. And honestly, like I know that the new Space Jam, I'm not the demographic for that anymore. Was it bad? No. Was the original bad? No, it wasn't bad. I mean, it was entertaining. It had the Looney Tunes, and it was hysterical at times.
It wasn't good. It wasn't bad. It just existed for its purpose.
Yeah,
selling
pretty
stuff.
much. Pretty much, yeah. We are going to get roasted later on by this. You know that, right? Like, yeah. I'm talking smack on the Beatles. You talk smack on Spider-Man 1 and now on Space Jam. I brought up a completely obscure film that probably most people outside of, like, I don't know, late 30s, early 40-year-olds would even know what the hell it is. God, we're going to get slammed.
Hey, it's cool. It's cool. You know what? I'm going to take it a step further. LeBron James, his acting ability is on par with Michael Jordan's. I said it.
Oh, God.
They are the same.
They are the same. Oh, no, Michael Jordan actually showed some emotion. Like, I mean, oh God.
I don't when people think about Space Jam, and I'm guessing they haven't watched it in a few years at least.
Oh man.
It seems like they're defending Michael Jordan to the point of no, he should have won an Oscar. He was the Anthony Hopkins of the basketball movie world.
No, but no, it's like the thing is, I will say that at least in the original Space Jam, what I will defend of Michael Jordan is that he made fun of himself, a lot actually in that movie.
Did LeBron James?
LeBron James, did he really though? Like, I mean, he just kind of existed. LeBron James, like, if they're like, okay, I've heard this analogy before, and I think it kind of suits this right now. If LeBron James acting was a spice, it would be flour. There's like zero ability from LeBron James, but with Michael Jordan, at least, like, I thought it was hysterical how, like, it's no secret to any person that follows sports back in the 90s that Michael Jordan went from playing basketball to playing baseball with, I think it was the White Sox, if I remember right. And he went back to basketball from there, and continued to kick ass in the basketball world. But it's just, I mean, I will say, I think Bill Murray did a lot for that movie. I think Bill Murray did a lot for the comedic aspects of that film. It was like, I mean, the Looney Tunes were funny-ish, but Bill Murray just. When I watched this movie earlier this week, there were some things that I didn't notice when I was a kid that maybe I didn't catch the joke. But the scene where Michael Jordan gets sucked into the hole while they're playing golf, as the as Nelson is whatever the actor's name. I just know him from Seinfeld and from Jurassic Park. But as he's taking that picture,
Nelson,
when he gets sucked into the hole, Bill Murray like looks at him and says, "What kind of camera is that? Give me that camera!" Like, he just like snatches the camera out of his hands.
did you say Nelson?
Yeah, hello Nelson, right?
No.
What was his name in Seinfeld?
Hello, Newman.
That's what I said, Newman. Yeah, that's exactly what I said, Newman. God, what's you on this Nelson crap? No, I said Newman, but
the very talented Wayne Knight.
Wayne Knight, that's his name. Okay, I could not think of his name. Like, I knew the last one started with, like, I thought it started with an N, but silent K.
Close enough.
Hey man, there's only two letters separating those two, like in K and N. So I was close. But one for me that I watched when I was a kid, it was awesome. Watching as an adult, I could barely sit through it. And I know from the person sitting to my right, I'm going to get so much shit for this one. Super Mario Brothers. Absolute, like, just really bad movie. Like, it's not good.
I mean, we knew that at the time, though. It was a bad movie.
I did not know it at the time. As a kid, I thought it was like the shit. Yeah, I thought it was like the best movie in the world. Like, oh my god, it's the Mario Bros. Oh my god, they have like Bullet Bill. Oh, the Bomb. Like, but I didn't really get the other characters. Like, yeah, Yoshi, and I know that Dennis Hopper was playing King Koopa. Whatever. Also known to actual gamers as Bowser, but yeah, we'll go with King Koopa because that's how we knew him from like the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, which was awesome, but also does not hold up into adulthood. Just kind of like, oh, okay.
It does.
Huh?
The Super Mario Brothers Super Show holds up much better than that damn movie does.
How can you say the Super Mario Brothers Super Show holds up better than the Mario Brothers movie?
Because Captain Lou Albano kills.
Well, at least the brothers were the same age or around the same age in the Super Show. But in this one, like, I mean, you have Bob Hoskins, the highly talented Bob Hoskins. You have John Leguizamo. You have Dennis Hopper. You have this trio of actually very talented actors, two of which unfortunately are no longer with us. but it's just like it just didn't really hit it for me as an adult watching this. Like, huh, okay. And the more like I know about how the movie was made as an adult and what that movie could have been before the husband and wife director duo took over and pretty much took it to the rape factory, to make what is now the movie that we have all been unfortunately subjected to, as opposed to what it could have been. Um, it's sad because like the Mushroom Kingdom was so much more important. It was supposed to be like a real origin story as to how Mario and Luigi became what they are in the video game. And at no point were they ever the Super Mario Brothers in the movie. They were just the Mario Brothers. And for Christ's sake, Mario, Luigi Mario. Like, okay. Toad was like that harmonica looking dude that got turned into a Goomba. The Goombas themselves, like, come on. That movie was hard to watch.
Everybody do the dinosaur.
Oh. And the opening scene too, with like the cartoon dinosaurs. It's like, the hell was that? I mean, and I get for comedic purposes, they gave the dinosaurs like a Brooklyn accent. Yeah, I kind of chuckled at it, but it's like at the same kind of like just like drifted off into my safe space and died a little on the inside the whole time I watched it.
I can think of two things off the top of my head that the Super Mario Brothers Super Show had that the movie did not.
What's up?
One,
Ernie Hudson.
sober actors.
Sober actors. Well, in their defense, again, it's how the movie was made. It was driving them to a point where they had to drink just to go to work. And Bob Hoskins, till the day he died, and Dennis Hopper both regretted ever making that movie. What was the second one?
A script.
A script. Well, wasn't it Dennis Hopper that said he didn't even bother learning his lines because it would just be changed, like by the time he learned them anyway?
It was changed often during
shoot. I was going to say, like, even while filming, the husband and wife would like just run over and change the script real quick.
They would show up for set and there would be no pages.
Yep.
But they're like, hey, we're going to shoot this. Figure something out.
Yeah. I mean, it's again, that's what I'm saying though. It's like, it's not the actor's fault that the movie sucked.
No.
It's not even the original writer's fault that the movie sucked. It is strictly on that husband and wife directing team who to this day have never directed another film since. They have been blacklisted. Oh no, it's like they have tried numerous times to get into the studios to direct films, and whenever they bring up the names, the studio head says flat out, like, aren't you the ones that directed Super Mario Brothers? Like, it's the very first thing out of their mouths.
Hard pass.
And they lose the contract. Like, I mean. So yeah, for nostalgic purposes, as a kid, I thought Super Mario Brothers was awesome. As an adult, I'm like, oh, I get it.
Let's see what these people have been up to. Annabelle Jankel. As a director, she directed Super Mario Brothers in 1993.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was, let's see, The Right Spectacle, the very best of Elvis Costello, the video. And then Live from Abbey Road TV series. And then
surprised she got that much.
A TV movie in 2009.
Oh wow, okay. I was under the impression that they never directed again.
And
or maybe it's just like they couldn't get really any directing gigs.
Tell It to the Bees.
Because I know that there's a story about a director that directed a movie that was so bad that no one since he directed has worked with him at all in anything. I just forget. I was under the impression it was them. So now I have to go back and find out who that was.
I haven't looked at Rocky Morton yet, the husband of this dynamic duo.
Yeah. Well, I mean, plus on top of that, like you also got to think as far as the drinking. The husband and wife were very egotistical, and to my understanding, they treated the cast like dirt.
Okay, so, what was his name? Rocky Morton did Super Mario Brothers in '93. Jerry Cantrell, Leave Me Alone video short in '96. The M Word short in 2004. A video documentary about George Harrison in 2004. And The Right Spectacle, the very best of Elvis Costello, the videos in 2005. So nothing with actual.
Nothing that's really made a splash anywhere.
Unless you're an Elvis Costello fan, I guess.
I got you. Okay. So it is your turn to pick a movie. Let me just add though, like to the Super Mario Brothers movie, I will say that I do appreciate the fan service with again the Bomb, Bullet Bill, the little sly connotations to who the characters are, like Big Bertha, which of course in the video game is a giant red fish that eats you. Introduced in Super Mario Bros. 3 on the water level of World 3. But then let's see, you have Yoshi, who was in it. You had that ending scene where King Koopa was in that basket, that metal cauldron, hanging over the street for. I don't even know what the hell that was supposed to be for. It's just up there for plots. But when they kind of de-evolved him, we briefly got a glimpse of something that kind of was like a throwback to the end of Super Mario World with King Koopa and his little like clown face attack vessel. But that's really like that. I guess like the fireball launchers were supposed to be like fan service, but we didn't really see a whole lot. The super scopes, I guess, were like the portable de-evolvers. But the rest of it was just like kind of like, what the hell? Where are they going with this? Like, I mean, okay, they kind of predicted a few things there, but it's like it's the rest of it just kind of, sucked, right? Like, I mean,
No.
So, what is on your list next?
Well, because I went down that rabbit hole, I lost my list. So I have to bring it back up.
Okay. As long as you don't say Mortal Kombat Annihilation, because that wasn't good to anyone when it came out.
No, it wasn't.
Mother, you're alive. Too bad you will die. Okay.
So if you get another one, you give me a second to grab my list.
Yeah. I can do another one real quick. So my other one, when I was a kid, there was this movie called what was it? Trying to think of I think it was like the one eye, one horned flying purple people eater. Like that old ass like 50s song. But there's a movie about this. And it was like a guy in like a mascot costume that is literally, let me see if I can find this real quick. So I can't pull up my phone, but I am so curious if I can find a clip of this on YouTube real quick. It's just, I watched this on YouTube because it's on there for free right now. And it's been on there for free for like 10 years. But it is the dumbest looking costume ever. And for some reason, when I was a kid, it actually scared the hell out of me. But yeah, it's a song by Jimmy Buffett, right? Jimmy Buffett.
Yes, that is the name of a person.
But I'm trying to find this clip because the costume, it was this. It was like the dumbest thing. Oh, here's the movie I watched. When I was a kid, this movie scared the shit out of me. And then going back and watching it as an adult the other day, I was cracking up at like, this scared me. But then I believe that it scared me because of the fact that it only took one sitting of that movie, The Stuff, for me to loathe whipped cream the rest of my life. Here it is. And I'm watching it now. I was a little bitch as a kid. But it communicates through music. It's got these two little plastic wings strapped to like this, what looks like an NBA mascot costume. But it honestly, it scared the hell out of me as a kid. Watching this as an adult, I'm like, huh, this is really dumb.
Mm-hmm.
But if I could take a screenshot and send it to you while I was using the phone to talk to you about this, I would do it right now so you could post it up for everyone to see. But and I'm trying to think, like, this kid, I want to say that's a young Neil Patrick Harris. Because like this movie is like from straight up pre Doogie Howser, and I think around like the time of Clara's Heart, which I watched that the other day too, and that's a movie that actually holds up for me. Yep, it's a young Neil Patrick Harris. He's got to be like, I think like 10 or 11 years old in this movie.
Pre-Doogie.
So pre Doogie. And Chubby Checker shows up as himself. You want to talk about old school? Like, that man's been dead for a minute. R.I.P. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it like it's still this movie. I'm like, I cannot believe I was afraid of this, and I cannot believe that I thought this was a scary movie. Like, I was more afraid of this movie than I was Child's Play or Nightmare on Elm Street or like, you know, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This movie scared me.
And what was it called again?
The One-Eyed, One-Horned Flying Purple People Eater. You'll actually find it. Just type in Purple People Eater, and you'll see the movie on YouTube. Published 7 years ago. But oh, I got a good one for my next one.
Is it the one with Ned Beatty and Shelley Winters?
You know, you ask me questions like that, I don't know. I mean, if it helps, I mean, half the cast of this movie is dead now. I mean, I mean, if we're getting technical here. All right, let me see. Pulling up the credits right now. All right. I had 3 actors to play the Purple People Eater, apparently, because not like you can tell the change of actors or actresses in the costume. But let's see. Yep, that is it right there. That Purple People Eater haunted my nightmares. Yeah, Ned Beatty. Shirley Winters, Neil Patrick Harris. I forgot Little Richard was the mayor, though. That's actually pretty awesome. Man. All right, so what's your next one?
The next one. How is it my list is full of sacrilege, apparently?
Well, you have no idea the dirty looks because I put you on speaker for your little like thing about Space Jam. And I've got Danielle over here just flipping you and me both off.
Well, as long as you're getting the brunt of it.
No, 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 no. The phone was getting the brunt of it, so that was all you. I was getting like a few flick offs here and there, but I get them all the time anyway. But so it's it's like dealing with an angry chihuahua. But with you though, you were getting like a lot of like heavy hardcore, finger flips.
Hey, it's all good. You know what I do for money during the day? It's nothing I'm not used to.
Yeah. Yep.
So my next, I'm gonna say final entry into this list for myself.
Okay.
It's a movie that actually a lot of people really enjoy, and again, let me make this clear: if you still love these movies, it's okay because we've said it on the show many times. It's okay to like bad movies. Just don't try to, sell it as something that it's not.
Yeah.
It's irrelevant what people think of the movies you like. I love bad movies. I love really, really, really bad movies. And it's okay.
Okay.
So that being said, my next and final entry is The Wizard.
Okay. That takes one off my list.
No, really?
The Wizard was a pretty bad movie.
I mean, don't get me wrong. At the time, it was like, whoa,
At
Nintendo
the time, it was awesome.
and Super Mario Brothers 3.
The
crap.
Wizard is to Nintendo what Mac and Me is to McDonald's.
It was a commercial.
Yeah, that's all it was. Like, I mean, the Power Glove. I love it. It's so bad. Like, okay. Then why do you love it? Oh, that's right. Bad in the 80s was good. Or like the Kid in King Arthur's Court, But go ahead.
From the dry performances from the kids, and let's face it, I know people say don't expect much from child actors from back in the day, but remember, this is from a time where not the stand, but Stand By Me has already been made, right? We see what good child actors can do.
Yeah.
So to see Fred Savage, who is playing it like, I guess, he got his lines 20, 30 minutes before they started shooting. He does the best that he can. I mean, it's no Kevin Arnold brilliance, but he does what he can, and that's fine. But the whole movie is just literally it's a commercial for Nintendo, and they try to hide that with some convoluted sob story that is just for kids it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But at the time, kids don't notice these things because those stories were added for the adults. The kids were blinded by Nintendo. We were all blinded by Nintendo.
Oh yeah, the brand new Super Mario Brothers 3. We're like, oh my god! Looking back now, like, oh, okay. And it wasn't only just a Nintendo commercial; it was also a Universal Studios commercial as well. If we could be honest there.
Oh yeah, people were pimping their stuff left and right in that movie.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's like a film by Universal Studios, which is why it ended up at Universal Studios. But it was just it was such over the top stuff. Like I would love to see a time traveling movie where they bring the kid from the Wizard into modern day gaming and watch him get his ass kicked. Just humble him up a little bit because he was kind of cocky.
They have him play like the latest iteration of Mortal Kombat, and he's just silently playing the game. And then after he loses, and the fatality occurs, he slowly turns to the side and starts vomiting all over the stage.
Oh God. Well, but I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. Like that was actually a really. This both sucked when I was a kid, but it was like just a really. And I said, it was to Nintendo what Mac and Me was to McDonald's. It's like everything was Nintendo. But and in all fairness, the only other option back in the '80s for video gaming was Atari, or like the old school Sega. We didn't really have a whole lot until like I think like the late '80s or like right around 1990 when Sega Genesis came out with Sonic the Hedgehog. But it's really just not a good movie. And it's like, and you have that one guy who is part of their tournament, and you're talking smack on Tobey Maguire earlier with Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire was in The Wizard. He was like one of the posse for the Power Glove kid. Little mini Tobey Maguire.
Kind of like how I realized for the first time that in Spider-Man 2, when Peter and Aunt May go to the bank to get the loan, Joel McHale is the banker.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know who Joel McHale was when like Spider-Man 2 came out, but like then I saw Community, I'm like, oh, that's the guy from Spider-Man 2. Like, yeah, it's also Joel McHale. I was like, well, what else was he in? Yeah, shut up. Like, turns out he was in a lot, but yeah, like, and I will say, for me, and there are some runners up here, so I'm going to go through my You want to go through a runner up list real quick?
Hold on. I do want to throw in there that.
Oh, go ahead.
Octavia Spencer was also in Spider-Man.
Octavia Spencer, who was she in Spider-Man?
Remember when Peter goes to the wrestling arena to check in?
Oh, that's right. I forgot the one he checks in with. It's like, oh, there ain't no featherweight. There ain't no featherweight area. I'm like, yeah, okay.
And I told my 12-year-old at the time, you see that lady that's checking him in, that's taking his paperwork and is like feeling sorry for him because he's really small? You'll never see her again in this movie, but don't worry. In a little under 20 years, she's going to win an Oscar.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's like, so, I mean, do you want to go through a runner-up list, though? Like, movies that you wanted to talk about, but we just maybe don't have time to talk about? Or, I mean, you want to go through like a top 5 runner-ups if you have that many?
No, I gave you my lists. That was it.
Oh, that was your whole list?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, shit, I got a lot more than that.
Run them down.
Huh?
I said, run them down. Let's crap on a bunch more movies before we get out of here.
That's fine. There was one that's on my list, and I'm sure you know it's a little. Actually, there's two. There's two here. Both Shaquille O'Neal movies. Steel. When I was a kid, I watched Steel. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Like, yeah, it's like, I knew who Steel was. So I was a little disappointed that there wasn't really like the whole Superman connection there. And then Kazam. When I was a kid, Kazam was awesome too. When I was a little tiny kid, Kazam was like the coolest shit in the world. Watching these as an adult, I was so confused because I was wishing death for myself, but I have yet to go see Ghostbusters Afterlife, so I can't do that yet. But I've never wanted to die so much in my life while watching a movie. But
gonna say, knew those were bad at the time.
I'm just saying, like, these are ones I held up, but like, I don't want to give Shaquille O'Neal too much of my attention, so I'm going to move on really quick to one that I know is going to get a lot of shit. Batman Forever.
knew it was bad at the time.
No, I thought Batman Forever was awesome when it came out. As an adult, it is the dumbest shit in the world. It is so bad. Like, because I mean, like, okay, Tim Burton completely nailed, like, like these characters, like his, like Batman, like a modern iteration of Batman. Like the brooding and everything else, and like I don't really want to be alone, but I feel like I need to be so I can focus on my never-ending job of being who I am and also being Batman. And him even having the line in Batman Returns where he runs into Selena Kyle after saving her from that fat clown from the Red Triangle gang. And he says, "Oh yeah, we've already met." She's like, "Oh, have we?" It's like, you know what? I mistook me for someone else. Like he had that dual persona there. And it wasn't like a struggle for him. For him, it was more like he's just split down the middle. Like he's two different people at all times. Val Kilmer did a great job. Tommy Lee Jones did not. Tommy Lee Jones was much more of he would have made a better Joker than Two-Face. He was too damn playful the whole time. He was giggly, cracking up. Nothing like the character from the comic books or anything like that. It was a far cry from what we saw of the of like even like the animated show that came out before Batman Forever came out, which nailed Two-Face. Like, how does a cartoon get a character so right? Oh, that's right, because Joel Schumacher did it, and he's done some great work. He's done some phenomenal work.
The cartoon, the animated series, that was Dini?
I'm sorry?
Hold on. One thing to keep in mind was that the Schumacher movies, especially, the people were reminded constantly that
they were toy commercials.
We're making a cartoon.
Yeah. I know, but it's cartoon. It's like it's hard to accept Batman Forever and Batman and Robin as follow-ups to Batman and Batman Returns. It's so hard to accept that. It's just, and it's you know they're follow-ups. You know that they're sequels to the original two movies.
Yeah.
Because you had Pat Hingle playing Commissioner Gordon. Of course, you have Michael Gough playing Alfred. So, like, this is going to be like a follow-up to this. But it wasn't. The originals were so dark and gothic looking. They were beautiful, beautiful films. And then they just try to go back to like this playful nature for the two follow-ups, all these quips and everything else. And you know what? There were quips in the first two films too.
Holy Rusted Metal Batman.
Yes, that right there. And I understood the joke. It was funny. It's like, Holy Rusted Metal Batman. Huh? The ground. It's rusty and full of holes. Holy. Like, okay. Yeah, that was kind of funny. It elicited a faint chuckle from me. The Riddler was pretty good. I liked Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey can play a hell of a psychopath. But it was so over the top at times. But that was also Jim Carrey of the '90s. He was like over the top, right? Like, I mean, that's just like what he was famous for. He hadn't yet really done a dramatic role. But you could tell that he had the acting chops to play a psychopath like the Riddler because of just like you saw it in his eyes when he got rejected by Bruce Wayne. When he kind of broke, but Two-Face was a big thing for me. Two-Face was like a deal breaker for me for that movie. And he was like, even when I was a kid, I couldn't stand Tommy Lee Jones's Two-Face.
That was
because I was such a
totally the direction.
Yes, exactly. But I was such a big fan. And I will say, I admire Tommy Lee Jones's acting and even Jim Carrey's acting. because you never would have known from watching those movies that those two, that Tommy Lee Jones rather, hated Jim Carrey in real life. You would have never known that from watching that movie.
You want to know what my biggest question was from that movie?
What?
And it's a question that I ask to this day.
What's that?
Why was a 30-year-old man given to a lonely rich billionaire?
I actually never understood that either, because I know Robin was always like supposed to be like a little kid, or like at least of school age. And here you have Chris O'Donnell, who's like, yeah, like he's in his like 20s here. Like, are you going to adopt a grown ass man? Like,
I'm going to adopt you. I'm 30. I don't need you.
Yeah, he even convinced him. Chris O'Donnell was ready to move on with his life. If you actually watch that movie again, he was ready to move on. Well, yeah, I mean, he was going to kill Two-Face eventually, but he was going to go his own separate way. A grown-ass man. And then, like, come Batman and Robin.
Motorcycle.
Yeah.
Because that's what grown people drive.
No, that's what cool people drive back in the 90s. You had to have, like, leather on a motorcycle. That's how you knew he was a rebel. He had a motorcycle and his ear was pierced. Badass. But, I mean,
the state's awarding this man to Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. Yes, this man in his 20s has no one to go to now. Like, well, he still has a thriving career in the circus. Like, I mean, he might be a little afraid of heights after, mommy and daddy and brother kind of, But I will say this.
I never thought about that.
I did.
He has a job.
Yeah, he has a job. He quit his job. Bruce Wayne convinced him to quit his job. But I will say I have a fond memory of watching Batman Forever in the theaters. My little brother Daniel, I love that. I love him to death. I do. He was a kid. Like, I was like, what was that, 96? So I was about 13 or 14 when it came out. It was either 95 or 96, but Daniel is sitting next to me. And it's after the Flying Graysons are falling with style from the rafters of the circus. And then, of course, we don't see them hit. You can't show that. But so it shows them having a little nap time permanently on the floor of the circus. And Daniel looks over at me and says, "Brandon, are they dead?" I was like, looked over and was like, "Daniel, are they moving?" And I hear my old man, and I hear some people behind us just kind of like cracking up. I hear this one guy's like, "Damn, dude." But you know what? Let's also talk. I've got to say this, and it's not just about Batman Forever. It's about all four of the original of the 80s into the 90s Batman entries, the Tim Burton and Schumacher entries. I don't know what it is, but the only female counterpart to Bruce Wayne in any of those movies that was not absolutely annoying to me was probably Selena Kyle, played by Michelle Pfeiffer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, her little BDSM Catwoman definitely helped matter some, but I'll tell you right now, she actually had the best character for a woman in all four of those entries. There was so much for her to explore that I was upset that you would end Batman Returns with Catwoman looking up at the sky to see the bat signal, to never see her again, or even get like a hint at her existence. Because I don't know if you remember Batman and Robin, the breakout scene when they're going to go, like when I guess Poison Ivy and whatever that thing was that was supposed to be Bane, go to break him out. You see the Riddler's costume, and you see Two-Face's costume hanging up on hangers in the belongings section. even though I would imagine Two-Face died at the end of Batman Return or Batman Forever. So I never understood that. But I was upset that they couldn't even give Catwoman like her costume just to put somewhere.
Well, she was never
to
caught.
show that she's still around, huh?
Since she was never caught.
Or show some hint at her.
And by the way, let's just create something here.
Okay, let's create. What do you want to create?
Okay, check it out. Two things that I want to see in the Flash movie. We already know Michael Keaton's coming back as Batman, but
Catwoman better be in the new Flash movie.
Nobody said anything about Catwoman being in it.
I want her in it.
So what if that is one of the big surprises?
It won't be.
You never know.
But can we give Michelle Pfeiffer some credit here for one big thing? The mannequin scene in the sporting goods store that she's robbing, or the department store. When you see her cracking off the heads of those mannequins with that whip, that was Michelle Pfeiffer. She did all that in one take, all of it. And she still has the whip.
Oh, I'm sure
she still has the whip. Because she even I think she was video chatting with a fan of hers, and the fan was interviewing her, and they asked about the Catwoman costume, and she was talking about how it was so tight that it actually gave her migraines, and she was freaking out and she couldn't breathe in it. The fan's like, okay, well, about that whip though, do you still have it? As Michelle Pfeiffer starts cracking up, she gets up and she walks around behind her desk in her bedroom. She opens up her closet and she comes out with the whip from Batman Returns. And then she cracks it in front of the camera. I'm watching this thing I am so jealous of her husband. She's been married for a long time. It's a lucky dude.
Well, here's the other thing that I want to propose.
What's that?
In the new Flash movie, I think Michael Keaton's Batman should die.
Well, if it's going to be based off the Flashpoint series, then that's pretty much what happens. But what I'm curious about with Michael Keaton coming back to play Batman, I don't know if he's going to be playing an older and more grizzled Bruce Wayne, or if he's actually going to be playing Thomas Wayne. Because if he's playing Thomas Wayne,
he's Batman.
But yeah, Thomas Wayne was also Batman in the Flashpoint series.
He's
in the Flashpoint series,
the 89 Batman.
But that's what I'm getting at, though. He may not be. I know the costume is the same. I'm not saying that.
And the car is the same.
And the car is the same. But what I'm trying to get at, though, is that I'm curious if they're going to make him the Thomas Wayne iteration of Batman and recycle the 89 Batsuit and the 89 Batmobile into being the Thomas Wayne thing, because in the Flashpoint series, Thomas Wayne is the Batman, because in the alternate timeline, Bruce Wayne was killed as a kid. Martha Wayne becomes a Joker. And Thomas Wayne is the one that has to, I guess, try to hunt his wife down. Pretty much spends his entire career as Batman trying to get her to come back into some level of sanity. So I'm trying to figure out, I'm very curious about this movie. And I say this a lot in Facebook feeds to other people. I don't speculate very often on films because I don't want to be let down. Because what if you come up with this awesome theory? And then you see the movie, and in place of your very awesome theory, you get a whole bunch of what the hell from a director that doesn't really understand the source material as well as you do.
Right.
So I don't speculate much, but
Jeffrey Dean Morgan is Thomas Wayne.
and that's what I'm saying though. Like I'm curious. I would hope that they would stick to that. So I'm curious what they're going to do with this Flashpoint thing. Like I don't know if he's going to go in the future and like now we're going to have like a 5'10" Batman to Ben Affleck's 6'1" stature. Like I'm very curious about like what they're going to do with that. Like I mean it's you know they honestly should have just brought Jeffrey Dean Morgan's beautiful ass back into the fold and had him play the grown ass father. Like, and I'm excited to have Michael Keaton back, but I would have been more excited to see like a psychopath Batman played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I would have been thrilled to see how he pulled that off. And as a fan of Walking Dead, see Jeffrey Dean Morgan going up against a girl who played Maggie in in the Walking Dead series that absolutely hates Negan and wants to kill him. Having those two play mortal enemies in like a different version of Gotham City. Tell me that wouldn't be awesome. But moving on from Batman though, there is a movie that I saw the other day that I watched when I was about 20 years old. And I didn't know what to think of it because I thought it was just so stupid. And I don't know what kind of flack I'm going to get from this, but Frequency with Dennis Quaid and Jim Caviezel. Josh, are you there? Josh.
It helps if I unmute my mic.
Oh yeah, it does. So if it came up like I was talking over you, I couldn't hear anything that you were saying. But Frequency with Jim Caviezel and Dennis Quaid. I watched this movie. I was like, oh, it's not horrible, but it's not exactly great either. It's also very predictable. Like it's it's all right. Not wonderful though. But yeah.
Yep, that's a movie.
That's pretty much it. Like that. Yep, that's a movie. Like, that's really all there is about it.
I mean, to me, it was never really anything to write home about to begin with. I'm not saying it was bad when I initially saw it. It's just it was there. I watched it. I'm not upset that I did. In fact, I really have no feelings about it one way or the other.
Yeah. But there is one more that I've got to end my night with.
Go for it.
And this is going to piss off a few people. The sequel's great. The sequel's actually fantastic. And watching the first one from the second one, the comedy alone, it's like watching two different movies. One's more serious than the other, and the sequel is funnier. Ace Ventura. The first movie was funny, don't get me wrong. But watching it as an adult, I'm like, was it really that great?
I remember seeing it in theaters and literally falling out of my seat laughing.
No, I still laughed at it. Don't get me wrong. I still laughed at the first one. But the second one, it is seriously like watching a different movie. It's like a whole different, like, it's like if they were to reboot Ace Ventura, you had Ace Ventura When Nature Calls. It's just like that kind of a feel to it. It didn't have the same, like, the first movie was much more serious than the second one was, if that makes sense, right? Like, I mean, the first one, like, people were actually getting killed in that movie. Um, there were like the stakes were much higher when it came to like actual. Well, I don't want to say higher, but it was much more of a crime caper with our laws and our justice. The second one was, I guess, the stakes were higher because the two tribes were at risk of going to war. But at the same time, like, it was just so over the top stupid that it was hysterical. Like, I think like Ace Ventura really nailed what it was supposed to be with the second movie. Um, it's just like, I mean, it's just two different kinds of comedies. It's like you had the one that's kind of like more serious comedy, and the other one is like more of a slapstick kind of deal. Um, you know, like the scene when Ace Ventura is like searching the cave and everything, and is like, "I am fine. I had this cross. It will protect me." Here's the squealing. He throws the cross at whatever. It's okay. I still have the torch. Another thing, he throws the torch. He's here like, oh boy. He just goes running out of the cave with all the bats chasing after him. And then like when he's chasing after him with like the albino bat at the end of it, he's afraid of bats. But he's chasing after him, he's like on a foot pursuit. And the guy he just turns around, holds the bat to his face, like, oh, get it away! And he runs away from him. The monster truck chase and everything else, like the whole movie is just over the top. Like, that is the movie where I could not stop laughing. The damn rhino scene, like, like, like I laughed much harder at the second movie than I ever thought I would have. I saw the trailers for it when I was a kid. I was like, oh, it looks stupid. Then I went to go see it, and the only other movie I've laughed at that hard since has probably been The Hangover when I saw that in theaters in like 2009. There are funny movies I've seen since then, but The Hangover was just such a stupid movie that I was laughing to the point where I couldn't even breathe. My sides were on fire from laughing so hard. I laughed the same way Ace Ventura when it came out when I was a kid, but as an adult I'm watching, it's like, okay. Funny. Maybe a few seconds of laughter, but Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls, rewatching that, I could not stop laughing. The only other thing I laughed so hard at is the dumbest thing in the world, and it's the scene of the colonel getting nailed by a baseball in Waterboy. I don't know why, but it's just like Ace Ventura 1 just doesn't really hold up to me. The second one, it's so stupid that it's hysterical. But that movie was meant to be. It's clear that movie was supposed to not take itself seriously. At least not as much as the first one did. Josh, are you? Oh, there you are. Okay. What do you have to say about that?
Nothing.
And then let's talk about Back to the Future. Joking. Don't need you hurting my feelings again with the whole, the slight that you made to the soon-to-be holy trilogy of Ghostbusters earlier. Are you with us?
Oh yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. You're so quiet. Usually, like, at least chime in on something.
I've been trying.
Oh, I can't hear you. Chime in.
No, it's a little late for that.
Okay.
I mean, like literally, it's almost 11:30.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, it's 11:30 for you. Okay. Well, then we'll wrap the show. That's all, everybody. Good night.
Usually he's a little more involved with that.
I know.
So, Brandon,
Go
tell
ahead.
everybody where people can find you on the whatever.
Okay. Twitter, bjacksman82. Instagram, bjacksman82. For our WADcast, Instagram.com/the WADcast. And just like the Facebook WADcast page, you'll notice us because we'll have that black picture with the white banner in it that says WADcast. That's how you know us. That's how you find us. That's how you follow us. That's how you fall in love with us. What about you, Josh?
Well, as always, you can find me at Skid Comic on Twitter. Give it a follow. Why the hell not? You can also follow at Semicore Studios or at WADcast Pod. I strongly suggest that if you are a Facebook user, you go to Facebook and you give the WADcast page a like. That way, you can be here each and every Friday night when we go live, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, and you will be able to join us live in the chat. But you can also go to the. Sorry, this volume thing's getting out of hand. You can also go to my Twitch channel, Skid Comic, and join us live there, or our YouTube page, Semicore Studios, and you'll be able to join us on all of these platforms as we go live each and every Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. But keep an eye on those pages because our time may be changing in the near future. We could be getting a new time slot, or in honor of Ghostbusters, a new slime slot.
Oh,
hey, see what I did there?
I appreciate that.
But if you're interested in like merchandise and stuff, some people are, some people aren't. You can always go to tpublic.com/user/semicorn to get a look at our merch that is 100% designed in-house by our crack Semicore Studios design team. It's me. And if you feel like throwing a few ducats in the bucket, go to the Patreon, patreon.com/Semicore. You know, if you dig what you're listening to, you can throw down a buck, Greg. Why not? No pressure. Because no matter what, we're going to keep bringing you the same level. I don't know whether that's a promise to keep up the quality or a threat to maintain the quality.
It's a threat.
But either way, we're going to keep bringing you content for free. I'm not going to lock anything behind a paywall unless it's deemed absolutely necessary by, say, a special event. And in that case, that would be a completely different animal. But the WADcast is always going to be available for you to download no matter where podcasts are provided. And if you are a download and listen kind of person, hey, I am too. That's how I listen pretty much on my podcast. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe everywhere that you're listening to us. That way the people can see that you're digging or hating what you're listening to. After all, why have an opinion if you can't voice it on the internet? Am I right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, with all that being said, it's time for this week's final thoughts. And the message has been pretty much the same since day one here at the WADcast. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, remember, boys and girls, the only thing standing between you and your dreams is you. Whether you want to make a feature film, you got a phone, do it. Whether you want to write a script, find a pen, find some paper, do it. Whatever you need to do to take your initial steps, don't wait until tomorrow. Do it today. Even if it's just write down, this is what I'm going to do tomorrow. Every journey begins with doing one thing. So do it. Nobody else can do it for you. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. And sometimes today's not looking so great either. So follow your dreams while you still got right now. Okay, that's going to do it for us here on the WADcast episode number 63. Join us next time when we do episode number 64. I think that's what comes next.
Yep. Getting up there.
When we talk about other stuff that we talk about right here on the WADcast, writers, actors, directors, and all of those awesome spots in between, and topics about the entertainment industry, movies, films. You get the idea. So thank you for joining us, and have a beautiful evening.
Yep. Good night, everybody.